Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and partners. It is an honor to be here today at the 7th edition of the Abu Dhabi Sustainable Finance Forum to share with you the World Bank's role in advancing the 2030 Agenda for Global Sustainable Development. But first, let me reiterate what Her Highness had mentioned about the importance of partnerships and the need to work together in a coordinated manner for global challenges. We just heard in the previous session about the efforts of UAE in addressing global climate challenges through the need for greater and more coordinated financing. I'm proud that the World Bank is a partner of the Global Climate Finance Center, which was co-founded at COP28. And this afternoon, we will be signing a memorandum of understanding with the center to really put in place this mission. So on the sustainable development, when I first walked into the World Bank in the year 2000, on the wall it says, our mission is to fight poverty with passion and professionalism. Going 13 years later, that mission became concrete targets of eradicating extreme poverty and boosting shared prosperity. So when in 2015, leaders came together to adopt the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the World Bank was an integral part of the collective vision for a better world in 2030, recognizing that for the world to be a better place and to prosper, we have to put people, planet, and prosperity at the heart of our actions. Today, we continue to be closely aligned with the SDGs as we support our 189 member countries achieve the goals of ending extreme poverty and boosting shared prosperity in a livable planet. Just in the past year, the World Bank committed $72.8 billion to its member countries in support of these high goals. While all of the 17 development goals are important, I'd like to highlight 6 of them that is important to show what the World Bank has been doing. First, our mission to eradicate extreme poverty and boost shared prosperity aligns with SDG 1, which aims to end poverty in all its forms everywhere by 2030. The World Bank has been instrumental in this endeavor over the years, focusing on eradicating extreme poverty defined as living on less than $2.15 or $2.15 a day. Significant progress was made between 1990 and 2019, with the global extreme poverty rate declining from 38% to 8.5%. However, as you all know, with recent crises, the COVID pandemic, the conflicts, the situation has reversed, and a lot of these gains have been lost. In 2020 alone, approximately 70 million people were pushed back into extreme poverty, bringing the total to an estimated 719 million people. The World Bank continues to address these challenges through comprehensive strategies, including financing development projects, providing policy advice, and fostering partnerships to support economic growth, enhance social protection systems, and improve access to essential services. Second, on Sustainable Development Goal 3, which focuses on good health and well-being, we're supporting countries in delivering quality, affordable health services to 1.5 billion people by the year 2030. The goal is for not just but our children and our grandchildren to lead healthier and better lives. This is part of a larger global effort to provide a basic standard of care through every stage of a person's life, from infancy throughout adolescence up to adulthood. And to help people withstand food-affected shocks, which we're seeing increasingly around the world, we're strengthening social protection services to support 500 million people by the end of 2030. This, we are also aiming to benefit women as much as it benefits men. The third goal I would like to mention is on SDG 4, which is really close to my heart, and it's about education, and that's where it all begins. And this is where the UAE has made impressive investments. The World Bank Group is the largest financier of education in the developing world, with a portfolio of about 26 billion in 94 countries. We are committed to helping these countries meet the target of achieving access to inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. The fourth SDG I'd like to give an example of is our contribution to SDG 7, access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all by 2030. We are doing that through sustainable energy solutions. In 2023, we delivered a record 42.6 billion in climate finance, supporting projects like electric bus rapid transit systems in Egypt and Senegal, and expanding electricity access through a solar home system program that provided electricity to 18 million in Bangladesh. Zooming into Africa, where half the population, 600 million people, lack access to electricity, the World Bank recently launched Missions 300, or M300, which is our commitment to provide access to electricity to 300 million people in Africa by 2030, in partnership with the African Development Bank. The International Development Agency of the World Bank Group, IDA, is the largest provider of financing in Africa. In 2023, IDA deployed more than 26 billion to Africa, accounting for 77% of its commitments. This is an increase of 24% over the past 5 years. For over 60 years, IDA has provided zero and low-interest loans, grants, and unmatched development expertise to the world's poorest countries, as well as to those countries that are highly exposed to growing impact of climate change and those in situations of fragility, conflict, and violence, many of which lack access to any other resources. Just last week, at the 21st replenishment for IDA in Seoul, South Korea, we were proud to announce that IDA has raised 25 billion in donor contributions, which will generate a total of 100 billion in affordable financing for these countries. This funding will support 78 countries in investing in health, education, infrastructure, and climate resilience, stabilizing economies, creating jobs, and empowering nations to navigate an uncertain world. Fifth, on SDG 8, targeting decent work and economic growth, the World Bank Group has put a renewed emphasis on job creation as a central objective in all that we do. It is estimated that over the next 10 years, 1.2 billion young people across the global south will become working-age adults. However, only 420 million jobs are expected to be created during this period. The cost of hundreds of millions of young people with no hope for a decent job will impact not just the peace and stability in their countries, but globally. This is an important agenda for all of us, regardless of where we are. To address this, the World Bank established a high-level advisory council on jobs, co-chaired by Singapore's president and former Chilean President Michelle Bachelet, to explore innovative solutions for generating employment opportunities for young people. Let me also mention here the efforts of the International Finance Corporation, the private arm of the World Bank Group. Leveraging its expertise and partnerships, the IFC bridges funding gaps in emerging markets by mobilizing private capital and investments to address the world's most pressing challenges. Its investments not only generate economic returns, but also deliver measurable social, environmental impacts and ensure that private capital works for the public good. The sixth and final example, which is also probably one of the most important ones today, is with regards to SDG 13 and climate change. This SDG has been the focus of a lot of the presentations this morning and a lot of the discussions in the past few years. By 2025, we're channeling 45% of our annual financing to climate action, deployed equally between mitigation and adaptation. Among other efforts, we intend to launch at least 15 country-led methane reduction programs by 2026. And our Forest Carbon Partnership Facility has helped strengthen high-integrity carbon markets. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Bank Group is committed to supporting countries as they strive to achieve their goals. But we know that we cannot do this alone. That's why we're working closely with other multilateral development banks, with the private sector and government partners like the UAE to improve the lives of people in developing countries in tangible, measurable ways. The world today is very different from when the SDGs were adopted in 2015. On the positive side, today, 5.3 billion people are now online compared to 3.8 billion in 2015. Renewable energy production has nearly tripled, and global health innovations like the COVID-19 vaccine have saved millions of lives. All at the same time, the pandemic pushed 70 million people back into extreme poverty. Over 1.6 billion children had their education disrupted, generating learning losses that still, 3 years later, have not been recouped. 110 million people are now forcibly displaced due to the conflicts and wars, the highest number in history. And extreme weather events linked to climate change, from devastating floods to record-breaking heat waves, have also intensified. This reminds us that the Sustainable Development Goals are not just aspirations, they are lifelines, demanding urgent action to ensure progress outpaces peril. 2030 is less than 6 years away. We may not reach all the targets set out in 2015, but with our collective commitment and collaboration, action, and innovation, I am confident that we can pull more people out of poverty, extreme poverty. We can provide better health and education for children, create more and better jobs for youth, and more sustainable livelihoods for families while protecting our climate. This is our greatest resource. Thank you.